This year, the nonprofit Year Up United celebrates 25 years, and they are right here in the Puget Sound community. Joining me now to learn a little bit more about this organization is the CEO of Year Up United, Ellen McClain, and the chairman of the Seattle Mariners and huge supporter of Year Up United, John Stanton. Thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Ellen, let's start with you. Can you tell me a little bit about I know that's tough, about what Year Up United is and why you're so passionate about it?
Sure. Year Up United is a national workforce development nonprofit. We support young adults and help them get the skills and access they need, the connections they need to get a good job and start a career. So it's about skills and access, and this year we celebrate 25 years. We have 34,000 alumni all across the country whose lives have been changed or who have changed their own lives by participating in Year Up United.
And we have 2,400 right here in the Puget Sound area, right?
Right here in Puget Sound, getting great jobs at the great companies that are in this market. Microsoft, Costco, Amazon. It is thrilling for our young adults to have a shot at working at these companies and gaining the skills and continuing to gain the skills they need to progress.
Mm-hmm. John, you were instrumental in bringing Year Up United to our area. Why is this something that you're passionate about? Why is this something you wanted to see in our community?
Well, I view the ability of Year Up to really address two challenges in the community as being kind of the magic sauce, the opportunity to help businesses identify talented young people, particularly those with technical skills, and the ability for young people that are in need of finding an opportunity beyond retail, beyond working in a Starbucks, to be able to have a career that allows them to create a family wage job. And for us, it was easy. Many of my friends in business wanted to identify a more diverse workforce. As I met the folks that were interested in Year Up, the young people interested in Year Up, I saw young people who had the talent to succeed in almost any business, but just needed a help up.
What kind of impact have you seen here in Puget Sound since bringing the organization here?
I think the greatest impact is helping the young people that in many cases didn't have direction, didn't have opportunities, and had huge financial responsibilities. Many of them were taking care of their parents, some were taking care of children as well, and the opportunity for them to have an education that gives them skills that prepare them for jobs. Not just skills, not just an education, and I'm a big believer in it, but not just a 4-year degree, but a certificate that allows them to demonstrate that they've got the technical skills to help a Microsoft, an Amazon, a Costco in areas that are important and frankly job areas that are growing.
Mm-hmm. Holly, you asked me why I'm so passionate, and you know, I sit with students, I've visited with students here in Seattle, San Francisco, and LA, and to hear a young person say, you know, I was a dishwasher, and then I learned about Year Up through a friend, and today I'm a technical project manager, and I support clients not only here in the US, but in India and Japan. And before Year Up United, I did not have those connections, and I did not have that sense of possibility. So for me, it's really critical that young adults in our society have hope and have a sense of possibility. I know what it's like firsthand to be a young adult when there were messages that suggested I didn't belong, or you know, I really didn't know anything about business, and to have adults who are not your parents willing to show you the way is just incredibly gratifying and also important. So Year Up United does that every day.
Yeah, you have a personal story that you just kind of shared with us in a way in terms of why you're so committed to the organization. Mm-hmm. It does more than just fill jobs, yes, which is what I'm hearing from both of you. Tell me how it's reshaping essentially our workforce.
It's reshaping, and John talked about this, because we are connected to employers, and the world of work changes all the time. I used to be in the TV business, so we were talking about how technology has changed in the TV business. Well, with AI, with the way work gets done, it is changing rapidly right now. So when we have close connections with employers, we actually talk weekly. Every 6 months, we look at how are the jobs changing? How should we adjust what we're preparing young adults for? That's a level of agility that I think the businesses really need. And so it works, that connection to both the students and to the employers. We're pretty agile, so we can adjust what we teach.
I do want to ask an AI question. How are you adjusting specifically when it comes to AI, artificial intelligence, and how that is changing so much of what we're looking for in a workforce?
Yeah, we use it in every way. So on the one hand, it's to run the organization. We support 4,000 young people. We have to find them, enroll, train, and place into jobs. And in that process, there's matching, for example. So we've taken the process of connecting an individual to a job from something that took days to 1 hour to now 5 minutes, because technology enables us to do that. In terms of young adults, in our curriculum, what we're known for is really the workplace readiness. And it's it's public speaking, it's how to take feedback, it's how to communicate. Some people call those soft skills, but today they're really durable skills. Those are the things you need for a lifetime of work. And so in that, we've incorporated ethical use of AI, the vocabulary around AI. We know our young adults, they are very technologically savvy and very coachable, so they embrace these tools pretty easily, and we make sure everybody has exposure to it.
I like durable skills. I like that term instead of soft skills. John, tell me how in Puget Sound you leverage your networks to build the community, to create these connections, and how is alumni involved to keep this program successful?
We started off by, frankly, calling some friends. We got people involved at the advisory board level here in Seattle that included people in business, Robbie Bach, Rich Barton, both Microsoft alums that had extensive networks. We had people from Boeing, Alaska Airlines. We also had people involved in public service. Mayor Norm Rice was critical in terms of many of the introductions. I don't know to call her sheriff or Chief Sue Rahr was on our board and incredibly helpful, particularly in helping us identify students. The way I looked at the challenge, there were 3 elements of the startup. We had to have students to fill the classes. Norm and Sue both helped us identify organizations that worked with those young people. We had a recruiting effort and we brought the young people in. We had to identify jobs for them. The business people, we cold called a lot of businesses, particularly Amazon, Microsoft, Costco, Boeing. But we had executives involved, so they were particularly helpful on the inside in helping us get folks. And then the third element was philanthropic money, and this community was incredibly generous in helping support, particularly the startup. I invest in startups in one of my lives, and our venture capital activity is, to me, perfectly analogous to what we did with Europe in bringing together those 3 elements and having the organization be successful. And the element that was probably most important was the model that Europe in Boston created, and now Europe United has really brought forward. It's evolved over time, but the basic model of helping businesses identify young people that can contribute to their success and helping young people identify opportunities that will enable them to be successful persists over time.
And you speak to all the cohorts. Why is that something you choose to do? Why do you feel that's important to do?
Well, frankly, as I age, I think it's less relevant to students. I've gone from being the age of their parents to being the age of their grandparents. But from my point of view, I think that when we get involved, when my wife and I get involved in a philanthropic organization, we want to try to be involved with the people, not just by writing a check. And so by speaking at graduations, mentoring some of the students, being able to speak to every cohort group, we think it enables us to both stay connected and perhaps in some small way help the students.
We heard a little bit of Ellen's personal story as to why she does the work she does. What is it in your personal story that has you compelled to do this kind of work for this community?
I've been incredibly blessed. I was born and raised in Seattle and grew up on the east side. I've lived here basically my whole life, and I've had the good fortune of starting a number of businesses, some of which are still important employers in the community. And I think of myself as having benefited from this community. And when we sold our last business, I was about 50 years old, and my wife and I wanted to get more involved in doing things that, it sounds cliche, but giving back. And so from our point of view, we had the resources in terms of both friends and financial resources to be able to be helpful, and so that's what we wanted to do. And it's really as simple as that. We have two sons that are growing up in this community, and we think that the opportunity to help young people and help the businesses is a virtuous circle that will enable the community to continue to succeed.
Ellen, can you talk about the real world difference this organization is making?
Well, one example is, 10 years ago, we started with a campaign called Dismissed by Degrees, because we said to business, you're losing out on talent. There are so many jobs that are listed as requiring a 4-year degree that when you get down to what the work is, don't really need a 4-year degree. So we've actively worked on changing the mindset about what makes a young adult qualified. Today, you can read about skills first hiring as here to stay, whether you're talking to the Chamber of Commerce or the World Economic Forum. There is a notion around skills matter more than pedigree. So that has fundamentally changed the way employers think. What it does, though, on the other hand, is suggest that for young adults, you have to actually demonstrate that you have the skills. So the movement is great, but now how do we help young adults actually demonstrate that they have the skills? Well, Europe United does that because the entree into employment is an internship. Mm-hmm. So employers support us and they support our students by providing those work-based experiences, which are a great way to, one, get to know talent, but also for young adults to develop the confidence and realization that, yes, they do belong at these companies, and yes, they can make a contribution. So I think that's been a profound change.
Mm-hmm. John, what would you like to see next for Europe United?
I think we need to continue to scale, and we need to continue to evolve. I thought your question about AI was important. Every business conversation that I have, I'm on a couple of public company boards here, every conversation in those board meetings seems like it's about AI. And I worry that there's a perception that AI is a threat. I think AI is an enormous opportunity, and if I were 25 years old today, I'd do everything I could to learn about that, because the 50 and 60-year-old doesn't know much more than the 25-year-old. I got into the wireless phone business when people didn't think it was an opportunity because there were no experts, and a young person could make a difference. And I think the same thing's true with AI today. It may cause some jobs to be lost, but I think it's going to create far more jobs over the next 20 years. And the opportunity exists for those young people that get involved and learn, and frankly, those that participate in Year Up.
I am so glad you're saying that, because I totally believe that too. And I feel like it's a contrary point of view sometimes because there's so much negativity. And I'm saying, no, young adults are coachable. And I really believe entry-level employees, because of the tools, you can get trained up that much more quickly. So I was sharing this point of view in a meeting recently, and there was some skepticism about it. And 2 days later, we got a note from one of our corporate partners that said, we just have to tell you this story. Your intern and 2 of the Year Up graduates who are now full-time employees just gave a lunch and learn on AI to one of our teams. I said, I told you. This is how it works. And I think for companies, sure, some will, and we will too, we will figure out a way to be more impactful using the technology. That's great, but it won't just be about cost cuts. There will be companies who will see more opportunity and create more opportunity because of what technology enables. So our view is definitely positive on technological change and AI.
Do you feel like that is the next part of Europe United? Is that what you would like to see next? That, I mean, John mentioned scaling. What would you say to that question?
Yes, we definitely want to scale. And we want to unlock more jobs. That is the biggest constraint right now. How do we persuade more companies to care about entry-level talent, to create internships or apprenticeships? We can demonstrate that there's a return on investment, so we'd love to have that conversation with as many companies as possible at scale.
All right, thank you both so much. One question for John about the Mariners. Okay, 2 weeks left in the season, going for the 4th division title. How are you feeling as we enter the wrap-up of the regular season?
Well, I'm thrilled that you're asking me that now rather than 2 weeks ago. We've just won our 10th game in a row. We've got 2 more in Kansas City and then 9 after that against Houston, the Rockies, and the Dodgers. And we're in a great position to make a run not only into the playoffs but through the playoffs. And I've been involved for the last 9 years. I've never been more excited about the opportunity that the Mariners have than I am today.
Great. All right.
Yay.
Thank you both so much.
Thanks.